Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Arlene Diamco, the MultiDimensional MD. I'm an integrative physician, a pediatrician, and a cranial osteopath, and my mission is to help bring the intuitive aspects of health back to medicine in practical and tangible ways so that we can access deeper healing and experience more peace, love, and joy in our everyday lives. And this is coming more and more to fruition. This last Saturday, we had the first ever class of School of Stillness where everyone is a healer. And it never ceases to amaze me what people are able to experience, even in a short period of time, feeling lighter, feeling more joy, being able to have more energy to understand themselves better. So we did a class on reclaiming the body, reclaiming the home, and also reconnecting with the land. And this was a purely energy healing. So no tools necessary, although we did go over through some. And if that's something interesting for you, then please let me know, because we're going to be having more classes with School of Stillness, and that is open for anyone that is curious and interested. So for today's podcast, I thought I would go through a question that has been asked of me many times, multiple times in the last couple of weeks. And anytime I hear something more than once, then I pay attention, because I know that there are many other people having the same question or going through the same issues. So the question is, when will I get better? And this is a lot to unpack. It was great for me to reflect on it, because any of us have felt this at some point in our lives, whether we're feeling down, whether we've had an injury, whether an illness. I've had illnesses where, you get like a viral kind of thing, or maybe it's a long COVID and you're wondering, when is this ever going to get better? Well, the question really speaks to the human experience itself, and that need for us to feel something other than the discomfort that we are feeling in the moment. And so sometimes with that discomfort, there can be this assumption that if we don't feel good, that we're also not good enough, because we're not able to do the things that we are regularly able to do. We're not able to respond to the expectations of the world and the expectations that we have on ourselves. And that when we feel bad, then we are just not good enough. So when we feel good, we are good enough, and we feel bad, we aren't good enough. So the thing is, we never know for sure why anyone goes through certain things, why there's suffering in the world. We don't know the future for certain. And with that, still, there are certain truths that we do know. So that includes, one, we are allowed to feel whatever we feel. Two, we can cultivate our thoughts to benefit our health. And three, we are truly free in spirit. And at the end of this podcast, I do want to take a moment to actually honor that concept of that we are truly free in spirit, because I just heard of the news of Dr. Gladys McGarey's passing on Saturday. She was nearly 104 years old. She is a foundation of holistic medicine, one of the co-founders of American Holistic Medical Association. So I just wanted to bring that up, because to keep that idea that we are truly free in spirit. And Dr. Gladys really exemplified that and lived it, and she continues to spread that message even through her crossing. So it's making me a little kind of emotional, because I did get a chance to interview her a couple of times, and she has a big part in the Edgar Cayce's Association for Research and Enlightenment, and my Corinne Casey, who I work with closely. So we'll get back. We're going to circle back around to that. I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but let's get back to, you're allowed to feel however you feel. We can cultivate our thoughts to benefit our health, and we are truly free in spirit. So what does that have to do with when will I get better? So first, you're allowed to feel whatever you feel. You're allowed to feel however you feel. There are times to grieve. So give yourself that time. There are times to cocoon in. We saw this with pandemic, with quarantine. We didn't have a choice. And so the world made us have that time. So there are times where, I mean, we have to feel sad. We are meant to feel this rainbow of emotions, and the true health is in letting the feelings flow. We're not meant to ever be stuck in any one emotion. So there are times we are meant to feel sad, and maybe we feel down on ourselves. So we can give ourselves time to wallow in that, even have self-pity, but then we need to give ourselves momentum in other directions as well. Getting stuck in any one emotion, besides love and joy, because that is purely what we are. Our essence, our spirit is pure love and joy. So we cannot change the essence of who we are, but we do have these human 3D experiences through the lifetime. Of course, we are human. It's part of our humanity. We can't be happy all the time because sometimes sad things happen, and it would be inhumane not to feel. If sometimes sad things happens to ourselves, and of course we feel bad for ourselves, but we can't be sad all the time. And even though there are sad things that happen, there are also miracles happening everywhere. And you are one of them. We're each one of them. A flower is another miracle. The rising sun each day is another miracle. And so is a baby's laugh. So no matter what you feel, you are allowed to feel it. But just remember, you are a rainbow of feeling, a rainbow of emotions, and let yourself flow through those feelings. So if you feel like you are getting stuck in any one, take steps towards another and start to see those simple miracles in the everyday. The mindset is so important in healing. And I've talked a lot about mindset and health, but I focus more on the beginning of my journey was in looking at the placebo effect. So I've talked about the placebo effect a lot, but I haven't talked about the nocebo effect a lot. So before I get to the nocebo effect, let me explain a little bit more about the placebo. So I'm going to read for you some excerpts from my book, my new book, I Am Intuitive. Can you see that there if you're on YouTube? It is a multidimensional guide to embrace your inner light. Oh, that's back. There you go. There's the front there. And this is from chapter 4, which is page 89. It's on thoughts. What are they? Your thoughts are the energy that helps shape your reality. So I'm just going to read this first page here. In my first year of medical school, I had an incredible idea. Instead of comparing everything to the placebo effect, why don't we study it? Why don't we harness that body's innate capacity to get better? A placebo is a pretend treatment, such as a sugar pill, used as a control in standardized studies for comparison with the real treatment. It's how the gold standard of studies, the double-blind placebo-controlled trial, is set up. Neither the patients nor the physicians giving the treatment know whether a patient is getting the actual treatment, usually a drug, or the placebo, hence the term double-blind. However, this is so interesting. Listen carefully. According to a Harvard study led by Ted Kapchuk, researchers found that even when a placebo pill was labeled and patients knew what they were being given, the placebo was 50% as effective as the drug in reducing migraine pain. Isn't that amazing? Even when patients knew they were getting a placebo, it had an effect. So this was something that I couldn't wait to share with my colleagues and friends and loved ones, because that is truly amazing, because it wasn't from the actual thing itself, because it was labeled placebo and they knew it. And there was something with the mind and the mindset and this expectation, or even a hope, living with the hope, the assumption that there will be a benefit that affected the outcome, that decreased pain from a migraine. That if a drug had that much effect, it would be a very successful drug. So now let's flip around and discuss the opposite of that, the nocebo effect, which is also a great example of how our thoughts can influence our health, but more in a negative way. So I'm going to read this passage. I found it in Forbes article called "A Psychologist Explains the Nocebo Effect and How to Avoid It." And this is by Mark Travers, and he is a psychologist. And he says, the nocebo effect reveals the powerful influence our thoughts can have on our health. In essence, if you expect a negative outcome, your mind might actually make it happen, regardless of whether or not the medication, therapy, or intervention works. The effect is like a simultaneous self-sabotaging and self-fulfilling prophecy, grounding in our minds and neurochemicals. Because the way this affects it affects our neurochemicals, but we can affect our inner pharmacies with our minds without even putting any chemicals in our cells. We can actually shift the chemicals that our body produces simply with our thoughts. So he continues, the impact of the nocebo effect is not uniform across individuals, and certain practices and personality traits may be more susceptible to its influence. So interestingly, research from the Australian and New Zealand Journal of Psychiatry suggests that individuals with certain personality traits, particularly neuroticism, pessimism, and type A personalities, may be more prone to the nocebo effect, indicating the need for personalized approaches to healthcare and related communications. So, I mean, those personality traits, meaning that you are perseverating or you're looping on these negative thoughts, and it's pushing it through even more so. So it's enhancing the effects, the influence of the negative thoughts on health. And now I know that might feel kind of a downer sometimes, especially if you have any of those personality traits, but I also have some type A personality traits, and that's okay. I accept them. And if I know them, then I can also address them and work with them. So that is like that idea of having to be perfect, of having to look a certain way, of having to meet the needs of the world and other people and your expectations of yourself, that can contribute to some of these personality traits. And so what you can do is focus not on what you can't do and don't have control over, like everything that happens in the future. Focus on what you can do. And so what can you do? You can be kind, you can be gentle with yourself, you can be a cheerleader for yourself. You knowing that a nocebo effect has such a powerful influence, you can start to shift and start to write down mantras of maybe how could I use my thoughts in a way that benefited me more, that was more enhancing my health instead of bring me down, because we are all constantly shifting our own neurochemistry. We're constantly shifting the pharmaceuticals within us that we make ourselves, that our bodies make. So in a moment, you can start to shift that. And that is a small miracle in itself. So focusing on what you can do. And looking at success stories rather than worst case scenario. So when you start to have these thoughts of like, oh, I'm not worthy unless I feel a certain way. I'm not worthy unless I can do this. Then start to look at success stories. What did people that went through similar challenges, what did they go through? What were the steps that they took that helped them? And you will start to tap into that mindset. And you'll also feel less alone, like that there are other people that have gone through the same things that you have gone through. And of course, like build this support systems, because there are people around you that care about you. I care about you. If you come and see me, I will be one of your greatest cheerleaders, because I know that you have the capacity within you to make the shifts that you would like to see in your life. So going along with that is approaching with curiosity instead of judgment. The curiosity will help with growing and learning. So having that gentleness for yourself instead of barreling through, because part of the reason we get down about ourselves is that we don't look a certain way. We feel like we have to look like this, feel like this in order to feel good, in order to feel like we're something, in order to feel worthwhile. And so a loving gentleness is that grace that we give ourselves when we stumble, when we fall and suffer. It's not the heavy hand and barreling mindset that will get us through, but the resilience of loving ourselves and seeing our worth throughout the whole journey, of taking steps, trusting in the present, in the future, and knowing that there is a reason that we went through whatever we went through in the past, and the reason we're going through whatever we're going through now, that wherever we are, it's the perfect moment for for resilience, for becoming into whatever it is that we wish to be. And even if we do not know what's coming, it's taking those steps with the hope that life will unfold in ways even better than we can imagine. It's living as if each moment is a miracle itself. Just like I said, you are a miracle. So even in the holistic world, people can be barreling through. And so to soften to yourself so that you can see more, so that you can appreciate yourself, so that you can take steps with more efficiency and aren't sabotaging by pushing too hard, because time is relative to your perspective. And it's, I have another passage here too, and I'm going to read that with this next section, embracing the opportunities in failure. Time is relative to your perspective because really the journey and the destination are the same. There is a learning to accept ourselves no matter what stage we are in, no matter what state we are in. I am a good enough no matter what. I love myself no matter what, even if I'm messed up and broken. Even if it's hard to say that in the beginning, you can just call that out. It's hard for me to accept my state as it is. And that's also an okay way to feel. So I'm going to read another page for you from page 201 of my book, I Am Intuitive. And this is embracing the opportunities in failure. Because I just feel like this is such a beautiful story and example. Okay, so it goes like this. The soul desires to love. The act of creating is one way we express our love. And since it is also a form of play, creating provides all the benefits of play, particularly helping us process difficult emotions, connecting with ourselves and others, deepen our intuition, and think innovatively. Inevitably, only some of our creations will work out as we hope. Sometimes what we make will fall apart. Think of a child playing with blocks or building a sandcastle. Ideally, like a child, when our creation falls apart, we begin again because we enjoy creating. This response characterizes the growth mindset we discussed in chapter 5. When whatever we've created doesn't work out, we have an opportunity to grow through failure. Give yourself permission to fail because you're going to mess up sometimes. We all do, and it's okay. In 2020, I gathered with over 24 artists in a virtual conference to discuss art and healing. One of those artists, Travis Carr, is a local high school ceramics teacher and a friend of mine. Here's what he had to say about pottery, failure, and resilience. I love this passage. So many people beat themselves up for every little thing that they do. They suffer from anxiety and social pressures, and kids deal with social media these days. I think it's important for them to feel good about something they make. Ceramics is a medium where you have to learn how to feel and be okay with it. So many times you'll make this thing that you're so proud of. It might blow up in the kiln, or it might make it through, but then you glaze it, and the glaze gets ruined, and you have to start over, and you have to be okay with it. One of my students was a salutatorian. Her entire speech was about ceramics and sculpture and her experience with art. She talked about embracing failure, taking that object and creating something beautiful with it, whether from the object itself or the experience, and moving forward from it. I think that's something that's needed right now, the ability to accept failure, put a positive spin on it, and move forward to create something beautiful from that experience. So there is beauty in all colors of the rainbow. There is beauty in all parts of our experience, even the mess that we see right now in the world, and so much going on and so much pain and suffering. There are people that are helping, and there's beauty in that. There is so much love outpouring, even in the sadness, that people are reaching out with their hearts and with their prayers, with resources, with their money and donations, with their actions and thoughts, with whatever they can do. So there is beauty in that, and it's hard to see that sometimes we have suffering that has to like open us up more to help us share our love and caring for each other and compassion for each other. But therein is the beauty in that, and the small miracles and those day-to-day things and the disasters that we see right now. And at the end of the day, the truth is The spirit is always free. The physical might hurt, the mind might hurt, but the spirit is always free. We don't always know why we're going through something. It's hard to understand completely why any suffering takes place. But when we do hit rock bottom, the only thing that we can do is to look up and trust in something greater than our individual selves. So it's okay to start from the I can't. It's okay to ask for help. And it's trust in the help that you receive, whether the tangible help, the help from others, or from spirit. Ask for help, to be thankful for the help. It's okay to feel like you're alone, but the truth is that you aren't alone. You're never alone. You're always supported and loved by the universe because you're a precious divine child of the universe. You're loved no matter what, even if you find it hard to love yourself at times. Take comfort in that magnificence of your being. Even when the physical is hard, even when the mind is troubled, all good stories have challenging times, and we each have an amazing story. The spirit is always free and pure health. So the more you can feel your soul, your unique emanation of the greater spirit, the stillness, the oneness, the more you can integrate your pure soul essence into your heart, mind, and body, and the more you will feel free no matter what is going on in the physical. And so with that, I would like to take a moment to honor Dr. Gladys McGarey because, again, she has been a beacon of light and she continues to be so. She transitioned Saturday, just a few days ago, just shy of her 104th birthday. And despite her age, despite the fragility of her body, she continued to spread love and healing with her heart, mind, and words. And it is no wonder that she finished off with a whirlwind podcast tour and a book, The Well of Life, that she has been that has been read around the world. And she is a true living angel and continues to be that living angel. So just a little bit more about her because I feel like she really exemplifies, so much of what I just talked about right now. So she was born in 1920 and is internationally recognized as a mother of holistic medicine, a founding diplomat of the American Board of Holistic Medicine. She practiced more than 70 years through which she tirelessly championed holistic medicine, natural birthing, physician partner, patient partnership. She co-founded and is past president of the American Holistic Medical Association, now called the Academy of Integrative Health and Medicine. Co-founder of the Academy of Parapsychology and Medicine, was one of the first Western doctors to utilize acupuncture in the United States. She was an advocate for home birth, and her innovations of natural birth include Baby Buggy Program, founded in 1978, which featured a fully equipped paramedical emergency transport vehicle for home births, and pushed the Arizona hospital system to welcome partners into the delivery room. Amazing that they weren't at some point. For decades, she's worked closely with Edgar Cayce's Association for Research and Enlightenment. And in 1970, she co-founded the ARE Clinic in Scottsdale, Arizona. Her work continues with the Foundation for Living Medicine, a nonprofit that works to expand the knowledge and application of holistic principles through scientific research and education. She's a great, great grandmother, and her life is just amazing. She was riding her tricycle into her last year. Her tricycle's named Redbird, and she still enjoyed a good piece of cake now and then. So, we interviewed her twice in the last year, and even when we feel like we are down, we are broken, our physical bodies aren't working, or we've been through so much. Dr. Gladys went through a really difficult divorce at age 70 that she talked about in our interviews that we did with her. And so she continued onward. And so I hope that gives you some inspiration, encouragement to continue onward, no matter what you are going through, because no matter what it is, no matter how broken you feel, you have the capacity to love and be present. So first, give yourself that gift, and then you'll also be better equipped to give other self that gift of your presence, because you are a true miracle. and never stop believing that. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm just feeling I didn't know how emotional I would feel like talking about Dr. Gladys McGarey. Anyway, if you would like to connect with me further, please do. Please like and subscribe. Place your questions in the comments, and please share this with anyone that you feel could use it. If you do like to connect with me on Instagram, you can at All Worlds Health. On Facebook, All Worlds Health and Pediatrics. And you can always sign up for my e-love letters. I send them out about once a week on Wednesdays, and you can do that at allworldshealth.com. So please believe in yourself. I believe in you, and I hope that you believe in you too. Lots of love to all of you. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and I hope that this episode has helped you in some way. So take care. Bye.